know they could get written up for not having a hat, right? During protest?
I didn't know.
Yeah.
Now you got a friend.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
of the leaders of the protest. We are across the street from the United Nations. The protest should march at some point. This is New York City, United Nations right there. I have seen a couple of anti-protesters here. Rafa is a big guy on TikTok. He speaks Spanish, but good guy, good guy. I need to learn Spanish. Rafa. I think they're about to start marching, guys. Oh, you're gonna get those steps in today, boy. You're gonna get those steps in today.
Millions of people. They are starving hundreds of thousands of children. They are starving hundreds of thousands of children. This is a man-made famine. 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 Just miles away. Just miles away. There are enough trucks. To feed over 2 million people. To feed over 2 million people. For months. For months. But they choose. To kill. To kill. The U.S. and Israel. The U.S. and Israel. Choose to kill. Choose to kill. They choose death. They choose death. But we choose life. We choose life. We choose life. We choose life. Stop starving Gaza now. 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 We want justice, we say how. We want justice, we say how. Stop starving Gaza now. Stop starving Gaza now. Stop starving Gaza now.
How's it going, brother? You good? Rafa, guys, Rafa. He's big on TikTok. He's big on TikTok than I am on YouTube.
Gaza needs food and water. Gaza needs food and water. U.S. Israel, stop the slaughter. U.S. Israel, stop the slaughter. Gaza needs food and water. Gaza needs food and water. U.S. Israel, stop the slaughter. U.S. Israel, stop the slaughter. Gaza needs food and water. Gaza needs food and water. U.S. Israel, stop the slaughter.
trying to tell me you're fit for duty? You're fit for duty? So just anybody could become a sergeant. Even a Slav. These are the standards for the NYPD. I couldn't even be a blood looking like that. The Bloods wouldn't accept it. But you can rise the ranks looking like that. You don't have no self-respect? You just walk around looking like that? Should be ashamed of yourself. I wouldn't leave my house if I looked like that. Yeah, go play in traffic. Play in traffic. So the Israeli consulate, I don't know if is it the same thing, consulate, embassy? I'm not sure. But it is on this block. Which usually they don't even let the protesters get this close to the Israeli consulate.
free Palestine! Sanctions, embargo! No more shipping Zionist cargo! 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 Make some noise! Make some noise! New York City, I want to hear you make some noise! I want to hear you make some noise! I want every single state, every single dignitary, every single representative currently gathered in the United Nations to hear you when you make some noise for Gaza! Make some noise for Gaza! We've been out here picketing at the UN for 2 hours. We've been here for 2 hours, agitating, picketing, calling for the immediate entry of aid into the besieged Gaza Strip. The United States and Israel have manufactured a horrific famine. Make no mistake, brothers and sisters, this is an engineered slaughter of our people in Gaza. Shame! Shame! Currently on the Rafah border, there are hundreds of humanitarian trucks just piled up. All of the supplies needed to make sure the women, children, men, youth, most especially children and newborn babies of Gaza have what they need to survive. The supplies are there. The food is there. What is not there is the political will. The United States and Israel, in addition to waging a 22-month genocidal war on our people in Gaza, in addition to their now more than 17-year siege on the Gaza Strip, have waged a decades-long attack on international institutions and a decades-long campaign on the nations of the world. The goal of this, to render them jokes, to render them powerless, to render them impotent, and to therefore provide the tools, infrastructure, and cover for these horrific massacres that we see today. Shame! Shame! Crying shame! They have the audacity to veto, the United States has the audacity to veto every single Security Council resolution calling for the end to the war on Gaza. The United States has the audacity to bully those nations of the world, like Cuba, like Venezuela, like Colombia, like South Africa, that stand up for the Palestinian people in Gaza. And the United States and Israel together conspire to place sanctions on every single person who does the bare minimum required by the people of Gaza. They're sanctioning Francesca Albanese. They're sanctioning South African representatives and South African politicians. And they have the absurd audacity to claim that the UN is responsible for the famine. We know who is responsible for this famine. It's the United States. It's Israel. But it is also every single nation that fails to go to the full extent of their powers to rein these world genocidal terrorist states in. We call on the Egyptian government to end complicity right now and to open up the Rafah gate. sanction Israel, to cut diplomatic ties with Israel, to expel the Israeli ambassador, to terminate every single agreement, military, security, and otherwise, with this rogue, terrorist, despicable state on humanity. Brothers and sisters, make some noise and join me in welcoming Brother Bill from Pan Hauda. Starving children can't wait. Open up the Rafah gate. 80 years ago, World War II came to an end in 1945. Hitler's Nazi Third Reich was thrown down, and the gates of the concentration camps of Auschwitz and Dachau opened, and people saw the horrors the Nazi regime was trying to conceal. They saw the starving children, the emaciated bodies, the corpses, the ashes of those who had been gassed to death. And in September 1945, the United Nations was formed, supposedly, to prevent that from ever happening again. It was a lie because at that time, most of the world was colonized, most of Africa was colonized, and Harry Truman was able to make the UN ratify the genocide, the Nakba Holocaust in Palestine in 1948. And they used the cover of the UN for a Holocaust in Korea in 1950. But today, the overwhelming number of countries of the world are members of the United Nations, and overwhelmingly, the people of the world stand with the people of Palestine. Because most people don't like people who starve children to death. Today, Dachau, Auschwitz is back, and it has a new name. It's called Gaza. And Adolf Hitler, and Eichmann, and Bormann, and Himmler are back. Their names are Netanyahu, and Trump, and Gallant, and also Macron, and then the Merz in Germany. Because there is an international conspiracy by the most powerful forces in the world, the richest countries in the world, to exterminate the people of Palestine, to starve them to death, to eradicate an entire nation. Like the people of the Warsaw Ghetto in 1943, the people of Palestine, the people of Gaza, are fighting back. But they need the whole world to stand by their side. The UN is rigged because the United States, by being on the Security Council, can veto any effective international action. President Gaddafi tried to change that and they murdered him. But there is an instrument passed by the General Assembly called Uniting for Peace that gives the General Assembly the right to go around to overrule the Security Council and call for international action. And we've had enough talk. We need action. We don't need countries to be recognizing the Palestinian state after the people of Gaza are dead. We need food and medicine to get into Gaza right now. We need an international military force. Only 12 countries have stood up. They signed a declaration in Bogota calling for complete arms embargo on the Zionist state. Countries like Cuba, Venezuela, South Africa, Colombia. And when I say the Nazis were trying to hide their atrocities, they were. This atrocity, this massacre is being carried out in plain sight because, as the president of Colombia, President Petro, said, they want to send a message of fear to the entire world that we can kill anybody. and murder and massacre anybody. So humanity has to stand up. We need an international force to go to Egypt to open the Rafah Gate. We need the entire world, including the Newyork regime, who continue to pour money into the U.S. military-industrial complex. We need them to BDS, and we need to be in the streets, and whatever else we have to do again and again and again until this genocide stops. And we need action right now. Next week there's a conference happening here, sponsored by France and Saudi Arabia, a two-state solution, some, recognition down the wall. We don't need that. We need those countries. Do they have armies? Do they have navies? Do they have an air force? Do they have a merchant marine? We need those countries who say they are against the Holocaust to take action right now. And we've got to tell our government here, because the United States government wants the genocide, otherwise they wouldn't be paying for it. We got to tell them, not another nickel, not another dime, no more money for Israel's crime. Not another nickel, not another dime, no more money for Israel's crime.
No more money for Israel's crimes. Not another nickel, not another dime. No more money for Israel's crimes. Not another penny, not another dollar. We won't pay for Israel's slaughter. Not another nickel, not another dime. We won't pay for Israel's crimes. Not another penny, not another dollar. We won't pay for Israel's slaughter. We want justice, you say how? Stop starving Gaza now. We want justice, you say how? End the siege on Gaza now. We want justice, you say how? Stop starving Gaza now. End the siege on Gaza now. Stop starving Gaza now. We want justice, you say how? Arms embargo now. Arms embargo now. From the belly of the beast. Hands of the Middle East. From the belly of the beast. Hands of the Middle East. U.S., Israel, and the slaughter. Gaza needs food and water. U.S., Israel, and the slaughter. Gaza needs food and water. Gaza needs food and water. Lift the siege and the slaughter. Gaza needs food and water. Lift the siege and the slaughter. Gaza needs food and water. We want justice, you say how? End the siege on Gaza now. We want justice, you say how? Stop starving Gaza now. Free, free Palestine.
Free, free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free, free Palestine! Starving children cannot wait! Open up Rafah Gate! Starving children cannot wait! Open and Israel. The United States and Israel have stood for the last 22 months, for the last 77 years, on the side of genocide, on the side of starvation, and on the side of crimes against humanity, against the international order, against the Palestinian people of Gaza, and against the people of the world. What we are seeing coming out of our phones every single day in Gaza is atrocious, is unbearable. I know you all feel me. Make some noise if you feel me. Make some noise if you are ready to turn that feeling. Make some noise if you are ready to turn that feeling into sustained action. Into sustained action. Into sustained action. If you are ready to fight for every single starving child, every single baby deprived of its mother's milk, every single student who isn't able to go to school with her friends and classmates, then I want you to, as loud as you possibly can, make some noise. We reject the Boston Consulting Group. We reject every single U.S. Zionist effort to turn humanitarian aid into a weapon of destruction and a pretext for displacement. And we will be here every day fighting until this humanitarian, man-made political catastrophe is ended. We're going to continue the pressure on the nations of the world. This Tuesday, as Bill addressed us, there will be a conference held by Saudi Arabia and France on the two-state solution, on the path for peace forward in Palestine. Well, let's tell these two nations right now and all other nations that words are not enough. Conferences will not lead to peace. Roundtable panels and dignitaries and nice rooms and catered lunches are not going to fill the empty stomachs of the children of Gaza. Comrades, we need action. We need food aid right now. We need sanctions on Israel. We need sanctions on Israel. We need Israel thrown out of the United Nations. Gallant and every single member of the Knesset arrested for war crimes. So will you be with us 3 p.m. here to call for the interests of the Palestinian people of Gaza, the true interest, the cessation of this starvation and the liberation of their lands at 3 p.m. on Tuesday? For my sister, Dana, from the Palestinian Youth Movement.
We want justice, you say how? We want justice, you say how? With the siege on Gaza now! With the siege on Gaza now! We want justice, you say how? We want justice, you say how? With the siege on Gaza now! With the siege on Gaza now! Comrades, we're here today outside the United Nations headquarters to deliver a clear message to all UN member states.
severing of all ties through any other means available to end Israel's genocide on Gaza and to prevent Israel's deliberate starvation campaign from claiming more lives than it already has. Now is a critical moment as we stare down the abyss of what it means to watch millions of Palestinians go another day without food, another day without water, another day without life-saving aid. No state can afford to play it safe. No state can avoid its complicity in these deaths, just as we, the people of the world, cannot ignore our duty to protect the life that remains in Gaza. Every day, for the past 22 months, we have watched Israel lower the floor of barbarity to unimaginable depths. Every day brings images bloodier than the last. There is no line that has not been crossed, no norm that has not been shattered. Israel has waged a war against Palestinian life and all that sustains it. And we now find ourselves at the most deadly stage of this genocide. The suffering of our people today makes the last 22 months pale in comparison. 1/3 of all Palestinians in Gaza have went the last several days without eating a single morsel of food. At least 122 Palestinians have been killed. As a result of the deliberate starvation campaign, with hundreds of thousands more on the brink of death, 85% of the population in Gaza has entered the final stage of starvation, the fifth and final stage of malnutrition. These catastrophic levels of mass starvation have irreversible effects on the individual body and on the collective population. We have witnessed video after video of man and woman collapsing from starvation. The high schools that still stand are canceling their exams because students are so starved they can't think. Mothers cannot nurse their newborn babies and are being forced to spend extortion rates on expired formula just so their kids have a chance to survive. The horrific scenes we are witnessing coming out of Gaza today are a result of a months-long calculated and deliberate strategy to suffocate the people of Gaza and deprive them of any means of life. And they are a result of a collective failure of the international community and international institutions to uphold the norms they claim to protect. Since March of 2025, only a trickle of aid has been allowed to enter into Gaza. In complete coordination and partnership with the United States, the Zionist entity has worked to decimate all existing aid infrastructure, making it impossible for the UN to distribute urgently needed aid. And in its place, the United States and Israel have replaced the UN with a privately funded and mercenary-controlled Gaza Humanitarian Fund, so-called. We have seen the Zionist entities and its partners in Washington colluding and collaborating with capitalist firms like the Boston Consulting Group, constructing so-called aid sites designed to concentrate Palestinians into humanitarian zones, which has functioned as killing fields, and in the end, profiting off of Palestinian death. Every day, there are at least 100 new, quote, humanitarian martyrs, as Palestinians are forced to choose between starving another day or risking their lives to search for a bag of flour. The time for concrete action is long overdue. Statements and condemnations are not enough. They never have been. Now is the time for action. There are thousands of trucks just sitting that can deliver life-saving aid immediately if the crossings are opened and if the peoples and the nations of this world demand it. All nations of the UN have a duty and an obligation to intervene to stop the genocide and the man-made starvation in Gaza, and they must act immediately to implement the measures of the ICJ ruling to force Israel's hand. We urge the governments of the EU, the West, and the world to follow the examples of the 12 nations of the global South who actually took meaningful action against the U.S.-Israeli genocide, imposing a complete arms embargo and placing sanctions on Israel now. We know that Israel will not stop unless it is stopped. There is no limit to its barbarity and no red lines that it has not crossed. We know the only way to put an end to this genocide is to force it to end. Through global action and with the popular will of our mass movements across the world, the stakes could not be higher. Gaza is where the battle over our collective future is being waged. Gaza is where the imperialists of the world, the racists, the capitalists, the colonialists, the Zionists are defending their violent isms, where the moral warmongers carve their bloody vision into the future onto our land and into our backs. And Gaza is where these global structures of oppression will meet their end. The imperialists, the colonialists, the capitalists, try as they might, will never be able to starve the Palestinians of their will to resist, of their will to live. The people of Gaza have not backed down, and neither can we, under the boots of the strongest, richest, most technologically advanced armies in the world. The people of Gaza insist on life. They remain rooted in their land, and we must remain rooted in their cause. And we must share with Gaza the cost of liberation. As we carry our struggle forward, we bring with it the unbreakable spirit of the Palestinian people. Gaza is our compass. Liberation is our right. When Palestine is free, the rest of the world follows.
Words, broken promises, and too little, too late. It is on us, the people of the world, to join to pressure every single state to join the call being led by the hate group to demand sanctions on Israel, to demand Israel be completely isolated and treated like the pariah that it is, and to demand the starvation of our people, our children, babies in Gaza be stopped immediately. We need actions like this every day. This is just our first step. This is just our first step. We are at stage 5 famine. We are at stage 5 famine, and so we must be on stage stage 7 response in our organization. I want everyone in here to scream as loud as you can if you are going to be here at 3 p.m. to demand that the Saudi France conference take real measures and force aid in to Gaza. Energy. If you are going to be at the People's Forum next Monday, 320 West 37th Street at 6:30 p.m. to get organized. For Tuesday, to get organized against starvation, to get organized for Gaza, to follow our compass until liberation. Brothers and sisters, please join me in welcoming Amanda from the Party for Socialism and Liberation.
We want justice, you say how? Lift the siege on Gaza now. We want justice, you say how? Lift the siege on Gaza now. Stop starving Gaza now. Lift the siege on Gaza now. Brothers and sisters, comrades, this mass starvation campaign that we're seeing in the Gaza Strip is just the latest phase in Israel's genocide against the Palestinian people. As others have mentioned before me, the conditions in Gaza are extremely dire. For 140 days, Israel has laid siege to the Gaza Strip. For 140 days, they have blocked any kind of humanitarian aid from coming in. Make no mistake, this is a deliberate policy of starvation. At the same time, they have created what's called the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. Its role is ostensibly to deliver humanitarian aid into the Gaza Strip, but this new foundation is run by 4 American contractors, private contractors, and is directly overseen by the Israeli government. In other words, this is a creation of the same forces that are facilitating the genocide in the first place. Their aid delivery sites have now become death traps, as Israel has killed over 1,000 Palestinians who were just lining up for food. The Gaza Humanitarian Foundation is not an aid organization. It is a tool of ethnic cleansing. But make no mistake, Israel's genocide would not be possible without the full support and backing of the U.S. Without the U.S., there would be no genocide in Gaza. It would be impossible. Every bomb, every bullet, every Israeli weapon that is turned against the people of Gaza, turned against the Palestinian people, was bought and paid for by the U.S. government, was manufactured by U.S. weapons companies. And never forget that it's the U.S. that has shielded Israel from any type of accountability at the UN every single time. But I just want to remind us that this is all part of a system. It is part of a system that wages genocide against the Palestinian people. It is a system that deprives Cuba of food and medical supplies through a decades-long genocidal blockade. It is a system that destabilizes Haiti, and it is a system that robs Africa of its natural resources to enrich its ruling class. And it's also the same system. It's the same system that terrorizes our immigrant communities at home, that kidnaps mothers and fathers from their children, to detain them at detention camps like Alligator Alcatraz. It's the same system that wages a war against working class people here at home, that cuts $1 trillion from Medicaid funding, that slashes SNAP benefits, that starves working people and their children, just so Trump can offer another tax break to mega corporations and the ultra rich. It is a system that is overseeing the single largest upward wealth transfer in U.S. history through the big, beautiful bill. And it is a system that kills black and brown people with impunity, that leaves Sanaya Chatham, an 18-year-old child, to die in her jail cell in the 41st precinct in the Bronx. A system that refuses her family of any answers whatsoever surrounding her death. That system's name is capitalism. Capitalism is a system of death and destruction that wages war and genocide across the globe so that the ultra-wealthy control capital and resources, and to enrich the very few up at the top at the expense of all of us. So never forget that the struggle against the genocide in Gaza, the struggle against imperialism, is always a struggle against capitalism itself. The people of Palestine, the people of Cuba, the people of Haiti, us, the working class here in the belly of the beast, our conditions may be different, but we are united under one single enemy, and that enemy is capitalism. That's why we've been out in the streets for 2 years. That's why we'll continue being out in these streets. We'll continue organizing. We'll continue building this movement until, one, we see an end to the genocide in Gaza. We see an arms embargo on Israel. And we see that every person, whether here at home or abroad, can live a life of dignity and self-determination. We want justice, you say how? Lift the siege on Gaza now.
We want justice, you say how? Lift the siege on Gaza now. Sanctions, embargo, no more shipping Zionist organizations, embargo, no more shipping Zionist organizations, embargo, no more shipping Zionist organizations, embargo, no more shipping Zionist organizations. Make some noise! We've been out here for 3 hours. Are we tired? Are we tired? Are we tired? That's right, we are not tired. We are not perturbed. We are not pushed off our path. We remain following the compass of Gaza, and we will do so until every single children in Gaza, in Palestine, in the region, right here in New York City, has the food they need, has the water they need, has the access to education that they need, can sleep at night. Can sleep at night without them complaining, without noise over their heads. As a man who just told us, it's a mix of corporations and complicit states that hold up this horrible genocide. The Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, which should be called from today onwards the Gaza Slaughterhouse, is no substitute for the UN. Nation states of the world impose sanctions on Israel. Throw Israel out and let the UN do its job. And corporations like Maersk and all logistics companies, rather than shipping weapons components, rather than participating in the economy of death, in depriving people of an ability to eat, but instead creating bombs and weapons, ship the food into Gaza now. For this to happen, we need sustained campaigns. For this to happen, we need sustained campaigns and organizing. It is now my honor to call up from an organization that has been with us in the movement since October 2nd and 7th for more than 22 months, and well beyond that, leading in many campaigns for Palestinian rights here and abroad and across the world. Please welcome Iman from the U.S. Campaign for Palestinian Rights. Make some noise!
Hi everyone! My name is Iman and I'm the Director of Advocacy and Organizing at the U.S. Campaign for Palestinian Rights. We are here at the United Nations to demand real action because Gaza can't wait for accountability. This genocide has made a mockery of our international systems and laws. We are not interested in diplomatic statements and expressions of concern. They are as empty as the pots and pans in our hands today. Have you seen the videos of Egyptian children filling plastic bottles with rice and throwing them in the sea, praying that the waves carry them to the beaches of Gaza? We have come to this, that there is more hope in a bottle floating in the ocean than in these halls of power. Nations and international organizations have an obligation and must act to end this genocide. And we cannot wait for permission to deliver aid to starving people. It is already far too late. The UN has allowed the US and Israel to sideline their humanitarian mission and replace it with the Trojan horse Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. The GHF is the latest scheme to control and kill Palestinians, all while American contractors, corporations, and consultants profit from their suffering. I don't need to tell everyone how bad the situation in Gaza is. We have all seen the images of starving people, little bodies reduced to skin and bone. Every day there are more, and the bombs continue to fall, and bullets rip through crowds of Palestinians waiting for aid. This inhumanity is incomprehensible. This week was my son's first birthday. A joy that was impossible to fully experience, knowing how many Palestinian children, just like him, will never celebrate another birthday. How many parents are watching their children die slowly in their arms from forced starvation. And as a Palestinian in the diaspora who gave birth during this genocide, my entire experience of motherhood has been wrapped in grief. The love I had for my son is so much bigger than him. That's why you are all here too. The love we have burns with rage against the world's complicity. Those in power and who have influence pretend like there is nothing they can do. Until they are forced to act. We must make our elected officials and corporate and community leaders feel personally responsible to end this catastrophe. So long as the people of Gaza starve, we cannot eat in peace. As long as there are drones buzzing in the night sky, we cannot sleep in silence. And as long as Palestinians are held at checkpoints, we cannot move freely. Until the markets are full, we must boycott! We demand the DHS be dismantled and the contractors and consultants be investigated as war criminals. We demand full access and unrestricted operation of humanitarian aid across all of Gaza. And above all, we demand an arms embargo and an end to U.S. military funding to Israel. If we let Gaza die, there will be nothing left of us to save.
U.S. Israel, stop the slaughter! This massacre, this war on children is unacceptable. Member states of the UN impose sanctions and stop it right now. Friends and comrades, we have a very special message from the children of New York City to the children of Palestine, to the children of Gaza. Please give a warm welcome to Javi from New York City. Humanity we laid against them. How's everybody feeling? How's everybody feeling? How's everybody feeling? We're gonna march soon, brothers and sisters. We're gonna call up one more speaker, but before we do that, I want to make one final announcement. We have said time and time again, Gaza is our compass. We have understood what that means. It means to stand against everybody who stands for the starvation of children. It means that Gaza is the line and this massacre is the line that delineates right from wrong. That shows which corporations, like Maersk, like the BCG, and like the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, are destructive, are against the forces of humanity, which politicians are more hell-bent on upholding slaughter and the impoverishment of the American people, and which nation states, like Cuba, Venezuela, and Colombia, are willing to take stands against this horrific genocide. This Labor Day weekend, August 29th, Friday, we will be in Detroit, Michigan, at the People's Conference for Palestine, called by for the Palestinian Youth Movement, the People's Center for Palestine, and many other organizations under the banner of Gaza is our compass. I want to see everybody here there. I want to see everybody here there. If you haven't registered now, take out your phones and register peoplesconferenceforpalestine.com/register or registration. And with that said, .org, peoplesconferenceforpalestine.org/registration. Brothers and sisters, with that said, please give a warm welcome for our final speaker, Arari from the People's Forum.
Don't you cry!
of their genocidal campaign against the people of Gaza have launched a starvation campaign. They're using hunger as a weapon. They're using aid as a weapon. And in addition to this, they continue to use negotiations as a ploy to distract from their crimes. Actually, just yesterday, the U.S. and Israel completely, yet again, abandoned ceasefire talks. Again! And Trump has the audacity to claim it's actually the people of Gaza that don't want to deal. But why would a people who are being slaughtered and starved not want an end to the destruction? It's completely backwards logic from Trump and Israel and the United States. We know in reality the U.S. and Israel never wanted a deal. They never wanted an end to the genocide. They had no intentions of engaging seriously in these ceasefire deals and negotiations and talks. No intention. Shame. In fact, Trump made this very clear just yesterday when he said it's gotten to the point where we have to finish the job. Shame. They want to starve the people of Gaza. They want to exterminate the people of Gaza. And they want to crush the international movement that condemns their crimes and stands unequivocally with the people of Gaza. And we won't let them get away with it. That's exactly why we're all here gathered in front of the UN today. This symbol of international cooperation that not even the U.S. engages seriously with. If the U.S. did prioritize international cooperation, we wouldn't be here today. The genocide would be over. The starvation campaign would have never begun. Netanyahu would be in jail. They have no conscience. They have no moral compass. But we do. The people of New York City do. The people of Gaza do. And the people of the world do. And we cannot let these criminals win. The time is as dire and as urgent as ever to join the people's movement for Gaza and for the world. In our millions and in our billions, because we know the people are on the side of Gaza and the people stand with Gaza and the people want an end to the genocide and an end to the starvation campaign and a free Palestine. And so that's why as we get ready to march today, I need to hear you all loud and clear as we chant, U.S. Israel, stop the slaughter! U.S. Israel, stop the slaughter! Gaza needs food and water! Gaza needs food and water! U.S. Israel, stop the slaughter! U.S. Israel, stop the slaughter! Gaza needs food and water! 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 Thank you. Let's march. Let's get ready to march.
UN member states. One moment, brothers and sisters. I know we've been on here for a long time. Let's dig deep. We're about to march. Everybody, repeat after me as loud as possible. Starving children cannot wait. Starving children cannot wait.
to march again, guys.
Cut diplomatic ties, cancel and rip up every single economic, war, and security agreement to force the aid into Gaza. Crucially needed aid through the Rafah gate. Let the UN do its job and move the GHF, funded by the Boston Consulting Group, into the dustbin of history. We need a future based on humanity, not on slaughter. And this is why we've been out here today. And this is why we're going to march right now. Are you ready to march? 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 To make some noise and get behind the banners on 47th Street. Get behind the banners on 47th Street. Let's stay united. Let's chant, U.S. Israel, stop the slaughter. U.S. Israel, stop the slaughter. Gaza needs food and water. U.S. Israel, stop the slaughter. U.S. Israel, stop the slaughter. Gaza needs food and water. Gaza needs food and water. Starving children cannot wait. Starving children cannot wait.
today, brother? New York City, guys. New York City, Manhattan. New York City, Manhattan. Good? African Diddy. Where you at? TikTok? African Diddy on TikTok, yo. What up, boy? Everything good, my hand sweaty as hell. They're doing this thing where they're blocking the road. Why are they blocking the road? This is where the guy had threw rocks and feces out of the window. I don't know if anybody remembers that protest, but then they had a protest after that.
Special program. Special program. We'll see you now, right?
You want to know a fun fact? Fun fact. Police in America were created to catch runaway slaves. Fun fact of the day. Police in America were created to catch runaway slaves. Just so you know. coming up on 42nd Street, guys. 42nd. Oh, we're already on 42nd. It's just that we are now coming up on Times Square. Times Square, 42nd Street.